When you make a decision, a true decision, you must commit to it with every fiber of your being. Not just for the moment, but for the long journey that follows. Because the moment you decide who you want to become, what you want to achieve, or how you want to live, the universe begins to test your sincerity. It will not hand it to you. It will demand proof, and that proof is belief, consistent, unwavering belief. This belief is not passive. It's not just saying, I think I can. It is standing firm even when everything around you says you can't. It's holding the vision when others laugh at it. It's showing up every day, not for applause, not for recognition, but because your decision was real, and real decisions don't come with exit doors. The reason so many people fail is not because they are weak, not because they lack talent. It's because they make decisions based on emotion and abandon them when the emotion fades. But your path cannot depend on how you feel in a moment. It must depend on what you've declared to be true. Doubt is a seed. If you water it even once, it grows. It doesn't need much, just a little insecurity, a small delay, one failure, and it begins to creep in. So you must be ruthless. The moment you decide, shut the door to doubt, lock it, throw away the key, because once you allow it in, it starts to take the shape of your reality. You must train your mind the same way a warrior trains his body, with discipline, with intention. You must remind yourself again and again, I decided, I committed. I do not turn back. This is how greatness is built, not through perfect conditions or luck, but through the power of a decision backed by unwavering belief. The truth is simple. When you decide once, you must believe always, not occasionally. Not only when it's easy, always, every single day, especially on the hard ones. Especially when it would be easier to quit. Because if you hold the belief long enough, and you walk the path with honesty and strength, the decision you once made will shape the life you were meant to live. So stand tall, speak the decision to yourself, feel it in your breath, carry it in your posture, walk forward with clarity and certainty. This is your path. Decide once, believe always. When you make a real decision, it must come from a place far deeper than mere convenience or temporary inspiration. A true decision isn't made just because something feels good in the moment. It's a declaration of purpose, a line drawn in the sand, a promise to yourself that this is the path you're going to walk, no matter what. It's not a maybe, it's not a wish, it's not something you try for a while and then abandon when the road gets rough. A true decision requires full commitment, a burning sense of resolve that cannot be swayed by circumstances, opinions, or setbacks. You don't leave space for hesitation. You don't allow yourself to look back. You decide once, and then you live according to that decision. This is where most people fall short. They think they've decided, but what they've really done is flirt with the idea. They get excited, they feel fired up, but as soon as discomfort enters the picture, they start questioning themselves. That's not commitment. That's emotional curiosity. A real decision means that even when your motivation fades, and it will, you still move forward. You still show up. You still do the work, because your commitment wasn't built on fleeting emotion. It was rooted in clarity and conviction. The moment you decide, something begins to shift. Your body moves differently. Your mind starts to adjust to a new identity. You begin to see the world through the lens of who you're becoming, not who you've been. But this shift doesn't last unless it's fed with action and belief. That's why full commitment is so crucial. It holds the decision in place when life tries to shake it loose. It anchors you during storms. It gives you the strength to keep walking when the path disappears. Real commitment doesn't allow room for second options. It's not about having a plan B. When you truly decide, you cut off retreat. You shut the door behind you and say, this is it, I'm all in. That kind of certainty is rare, but it's the foundation of transformation. Without it, belief becomes fragile, discipline fades, and doubt begins to creep in. But when you commit fully, your belief becomes unbreakable. Even if progress is slow, even if others don't understand, you stay loyal to your path, because you've decided that turning back is not an option. You must be willing to give your decision the respect it deserves, to hold it with strength, to protect it with focus, to feed it with persistence. This is how growth begins. This is how your potential starts to take shape. You don't need to make the decision again and again. You only need to make it once, deeply, honestly, and completely. Then your only task is to believe in it always, and act like it every single day. Belief is not something you turn on when things are easy and turn off when the pressure rises. It must be constant, unshakable, and rooted in the decision you've already made. The world will not always reflect your desire right away. The results you want may take time, and along the way, you'll encounter moments that seem to contradict your vision. But this is exactly when belief matters most. Anyone can believe when things are working, but true belief is proven in difficulty, in silence, in the moments when no one is watching and nothing is happening. That's when your inner voice must be stronger than the noise around you. When you've made a real decision, belief becomes the force that carries it forward. It's the energy behind every action you take. Without belief, your steps are weak and uncertain. You hesitate, you second guess, and eventually, you break the promise you made to yourself. But when belief is strong, it doesn't matter what obstacles arise. You may fall, but you get back up. You may fail, but you don't quit, because belief keeps your eyes fixed on the outcome, not the setbacks. There will be people who doubt you. There will be times you doubt yourself. That's natural. But belief doesn't mean you never feel uncertainty. It means you choose not to feed it. It means you respond to fear with action, not retreat. You remind yourself of why you started, of the decision you made, and of the future that is waiting if you keep moving. Belief is your armor. It protects your vision. It strengthens your discipline. It quiets the voice of fear that tries to convince you to turn back. The strength of your belief is revealed in your consistency. When you keep showing up, even when results are invisible. When you keep speaking life into your dreams, even when others speak doubt. When you keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. That's real belief. And this kind of belief creates momentum. Over time, the world begins to shift, to match your inner conviction. Opportunities appear, progress builds, and what once seemed impossible starts to become your reality. Not because it was easy, but because you believed through everything that tried to break you. Don't wait for the outside world to give you a reason to believe. Create belief from within. Decide that your goal is already real in your mind, and then act like it, speak like it, walk like it. The stronger your belief, the faster your decision becomes your identity. And once that happens, your actions start to align naturally. You no longer need motivation. You have momentum. You don't chase results. You create them. In the end, belief is not a feeling. It's a decision you make every day to trust the path you've chosen, no matter how long it takes. Many people confuse motivation with commitment. They believe they're committed to a goal because they feel excited, inspired, or driven in a specific moment. But emotions are temporary. They rise and fall like waves. If your decision is based on how you feel in a single moment, it will crumble the moment discomfort or challenge shows up. That's why relying on emotion to sustain your journey is dangerous. True commitment goes beyond emotion. It lives in discipline, in clarity, and in your willingness to act, whether you feel like it or not. When you're driven by emotion, you may start strong, but you don't last long. You show up when it's convenient, you push when it's fun. But as soon as things get hard, as soon as results are delayed, or criticism appears, or fatigue sets in, you begin to question everything. That's not the mark of someone who has truly decided. A real decision isn't conditional. It's not built on emotion. It's built on the understanding that what you want is worth enduring discomfort, setbacks, and uncertainty. That's why you must learn to separate emotion from commitment. Emotions are useful. They can energize you, fuel you, give you momentum, but they are not dependable. What's dependable is your choice. What's dependable is the system you build, the discipline you train, the standard you hold yourself to, even on the days when motivation disappears. And it will disappear, that's a fact, but your decision must remain. This is why belief becomes so important. It acts as the anchor when your feelings try to pull you away from your path. When you believe in your decision deeply and consistently, you don't need emotion to carry you. You carry yourself. You keep your focus on the outcome, not the mood of the moment. You remember why you started. You hold the vision in your mind, and you act in alignment with it, day after day. Discipline is the evidence of true commitment. When you do what you said you do long after the feeling in which you said it has passed, that's commitment. That's when your decision becomes part of who you are, not just something you say, but something you live. Your actions no longer depend on how you feel. They are driven by who you've chosen to become. You won't always feel ready. You won't always feel excited. But if you wait for the perfect mood to take action, you'll be waiting forever. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in consistency. So take the emotion for what it is, a spark, but build your fire with belief, discipline, and action. Let your decision guide you, not your mood. Let your purpose be stronger than your feeling. And when that shift happens, when you act not because you feel like it, but because you're committed, you begin to transform, not just your habits, but your entire life. Doubt doesn't need a loud voice to derail you. It only needs a whisper, a moment of hesitation, a flicker of fear, a single unanswered question. Once it finds an opening, it spreads quietly, subtly, and if left unchecked, it can poison your entire mindset. That's why you must be ruthless with it. You cannot afford to entertain it, even for a second. Once you've made your decision, doubt is not something you manage, it's something you eliminate. The moment you let it in, it begins to grow roots, and soon your clear path becomes clouded with confusion. After a firm decision has been made, your number one task is to protect it. You've already chosen your direction, you've committed to the vision. Now your role is to keep that decision alive through belief and consistent action. But doubt will always try to pull you back into safety. It will make you question your worth, your timing, your ability. It will bring up past failures, magnify present difficulties, and distort the future with fear. And if you listen to it, even briefly, you begin to lose connection with the certainty that once carried you forward. This is why it's critical to close the door to doubt completely. You can't keep it in the background just in case things don't work out. There can't be a maybe when it comes to your purpose. You either believe and act, or you hesitate and fall. Doubt loves hesitation. It feeds on indecision. And once you pause to entertain it, you're already stepping away from your path. That's the danger. It doesn't show up with a warning. It shows up disguised as logic, as caution, as humility. But its goal is always the same: to weaken your resolve and steal your momentum. You have to train your mind to recognize doubt the moment it arises, and immediately replace it with action. Action is the antidote. The more you move forward, the less room doubt has to exist. You reaffirm your decision by what you do, not by what you think. You silence doubt by staying in motion. It's not about being reckless or ignoring reality. It's about refusing to allow fear to shape your choices. Doubt wants you to wait. It wants you to seek more validation, more comfort, more proof. But your power lies in deciding once and then moving forward with complete conviction. Every time you act with belief, you take ground away from doubt. Every time you speak your vision with confidence, you drown out the noise of fear. And eventually, doubt begins to lose its grip. It fades into the background, because it no longer has power over you. You've trained yourself to lead with belief, not fear. And once you've built that habit, doubt no longer has a place in your mind or your journey. Let your actions be louder than your doubts, and your decisions stronger than any fear. Your mind is the command center of your entire life. Every action you take, every choice you make, starts with a single thought. That's why discipline of the mind is not optional. It's essential. You can have the best intentions, the clearest goals, and even the right strategies.
But if your mind is scattered, undisciplined, or consumed by fear and distraction, you will sabotage your progress again and again. Training your mind is the most important step toward becoming the person you've decided to be. Without it, belief will waver, doubt will creep in, and your commitment will weaken with every challenge. Discipline begins with awareness. You have to become conscious of what you're thinking, especially in the quiet moments, the times when no one is watching, when results are delayed, and when your effort feels invisible. What you say to yourself in those moments. Do you feed your belief, or do you water your doubt? Do you return to your decision, or do you start rewriting your past to match your fears? These are the moments that define you, not the loud victories, but the silent choices. Just like a warrior trains his body, you must train your mind every day, not when it's convenient, not only when things are going your way. Every single day, you must practice telling yourself the truth of who you are becoming. You must remind yourself of your decision. You must hold the image of your vision so clearly in your mind that no obstacle can blur it. This isn't about false positivity, it's about deliberate focus. You are choosing what to think, and by doing that you're shaping your reality from the inside out. When challenges arise, and they will, an undisciplined mind will seek escape. It will look for shortcuts, excuses, or distractions, but a trained mind remains steady. It doesn't panic, it doesn't negotiate with failure, it simply returns to the path. This is the power of mental discipline. It allows you to remain anchored in your belief, even when the world around you is uncertain. It gives you control over your emotions, your reactions, and your energy. And the more you train it, the stronger it becomes. The mistake many people make is thinking that discipline is about force or suppression, but real discipline is about clarity. It's about knowing what matters most, and refusing to give your mental energy to anything that threatens your progress. It's about guarding your thoughts, as if your future depends on them, because it does. Every time you choose focus over distraction, belief over fear, and consistency over comfort, you're building mental strength. You're reinforcing the decision you made, and the identity you're stepping into. This is the process of becoming unshakable, not because the path is easy, but because your mind is trained to stay on it, no matter what. There's a quiet power in persistence, a force that doesn't shout or demand attention, but instead moves steadily forward, regardless of the terrain. When you truly commit to a decision, and believe in it, without pause, persistence becomes your natural response to every challenge. You don't need to convince yourself to keep going each time the path gets hard. You've already decided. Your only responsibility now is to keep showing up. The truth is, greatness isn't built in sudden breakthroughs or dramatic moments. It's built in the everyday, when you keep working despite the setbacks. When you take another step, even when the last one didn't seem to move you forward. When you hold the vision close, even when nothing around you reflects it yet. Persistence isn't about force, it's about endurance. It's about staying loyal to the journey, not just the destination. Most people give up, not because they lack ability, but because they expect quick results. And when those results don't come, they begin to question the decision. But you don't need to decide again. You've already done. What you need is belief. Daily, consistent, stubborn belief. Belief fuels persistence. It keeps your feet moving when your mind is tired. It allows you to move past failure, without turning it into identity. It transforms delays into discipline. When you believe, truly believe, you stop looking for signs that it's working, and start creating those signs through relentless action. That's where real transformation begins, with quiet, consistent steps, with repeated action in the face of doubt, with belief that doesn't need evidence to exist. It's easy to stay focused when things go well, but the real test is when nothing seems to be working, when your efforts feel unseen, your progress feels slow, and your results are nowhere in sight. That's when persistence proves its worth, because most people quit in those moments, but not the ones who've decided once and believe always. And here's what's often overlooked: when you persist long enough, you begin to change. You become more resilient, more confident, more capable. The journey shapes you. It teaches you how to trust yourself, how to lead yourself, how to remain calm under pressure, and eventually the world around you starts to reflect what you've been holding inside all along. Success begins to appear, not because it was handed to you, but because you refused to give up when it was hardest to keep going. Your decision was never meant to guarantee an easy road, it was meant to give you direction. Belief keeps you on that road, and persistence makes sure you reach the end of it, not with noise or shortcuts, but with steady, honest, focused effort. The kind of effort that builds something lasting, the kind of effort that turns vision into reality. Hold your decision, guard your belief, keep walking.